body dysmorphia. I have it. If I get a photo shoot done or I walked in Fashion Week and I saw those pictures, like, oh gosh, that's what I look like?
I was a young anorexic teenager, and oh my God, Sean, it led into a downward spiral. People like myself currently saved my life. I was almost institutionalized.
Oh, wow. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Determined Society. Before I introduce today's guest, I want you to do me a huge favor. If you're an avid listener of the show and love what we got going on, I need you to head to the determinedsociety.com and sign up for our newsletter. Inside there, you're gonna have an opportunity to join the school group for free, get behind the scenes content, free coaching calls, a lot of things that not a lot of people get to see. You're gonna have the opportunity to see and engage with. So without further ado, today I have with me Francesca Scerbo. She is a high-level nutritionist. She helps people with their balance of their hormones, just anything you can think of. This woman has been in this industry for decades, and she is a true value add to anybody looking to get healthy. And in my opinion, this industry of fitness, nutrition has a lot of misdirection. So I'm really excited to share Francesca's story with you guys today and get some of her background and really dive in with her on some things that are going on in the industry that she can help debunk and give you the value so you can move forward and know where to start. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, I look forward to this great time together and getting to dive into what our passions are about and educate, right?
Super excited because, I've said it many times and just in the intro there that I feel like the fitness industry and the nutrition industry can be super convoluted. There's a lot of influencers out there pushing certain hormones or certain diets or whatever the case may be for potentially growing the audience, maybe affiliate money, but also, man, everybody's body chemistry is different. Everybody responds differently to certain diets. But before we get to all of that, we had an interesting conversation on the phone about a month or so ago, and you gave a really good background of your story, but the audience obviously didn't get a chance to hear that. So I'd like for you to share that with the audience, then we'll go from there.
Sure, absolutely. So I have been in the fitness and wellness industry since I was 19. So I started personal training when I was 19, and it kind of escalated into me owning a training studio in New Jersey, which then led to me doing Pilates and all different formats of fitness. And then that led to me wanting to go into nutrition. So why did I go into fitness and nutrition as my career? Is I was a young anorexic teenager. So people like myself currently saved my life. Not only did I have the support of my family to get me to where I needed to be, but I really was going through a downward spiral when I was about 15 years old. I had a minor surgical procedure, and I was kind of, at that time, I guess you would say, like teased and bullied because I was a more mature body structure than most. We talk about individuality. So I was more mature looking and body-wise. So I was, I guess you would call it then bullying, but I was picked on. So when I had this little procedure, I lost some weight, and oh my God, Sean, it led into a downward spiral where I was almost institutionalized.
Oh, wow.
And my parents sat me down and I just needed help. So we got a nutrition coach, which is what I like to call myself, is really a nutrition coach. And I got myself a trainer to help me do things safe. And when I was working with these people and I saw that I was getting healthier and I was getting fitter and I was getting more confident and I was having like less body dysmorphic issues, because you have that when you have something like what I had, which is anorexia. I remember thinking to myself, like, I need to do this for other people. And when I was 19, I got myself like kind of into a space where I knew this is what I wanted to do. I got my bachelor's in exercise science. I met people in my industry that kind of introduced this to me as how you can make this a full career. And then I went into doing clinical nutrition. I didn't want to go into RD. I wanted to go clinical because I wanted to understand supplements and how food is medicine. Supplement is just a part of that. And I've been doing this for over 25 years, and it has just been a blessing. And now I get to go out and have conversations like this with you. I do a lot of talks throughout the area on women's health. I do personal training of all different types of people. and I have 3 cookbooks, and I'm just truly blessed to be doing something and putting my passion and purpose out there.
You know, I love when somebody goes through something and they turn it in to a roadmap for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did it with my platform, certain things that I struggled with. And you know, thank goodness for your parents to step in and say, yo, we're going to fix this, right? No judgment, but we're going to fix this. You know, I know a girl that I went to high school with, and she was an incredible swimmer. Incredible. And she got into the whole not eating thing. And she ended up, you know, becoming 70, 80 pounds. And she did. You know, I think she was, I'm not going to say names, but I think she was actually admitted. And she went on this journey to where she really had to, you know, heal. And because, you know, I think it can go both ways, right? I remember being largely overweight. You know, I mean, I wasn't 400, 300 pounds, but I mean, I'm 5'11" and I was 230 pounds, right? So like, you know, it's hard. It is really hard. And when you look back at all these things like body dysmorphia, people have that. And this is something that I want the audience to really key in on, because I have it, you know,
it never leaves.
It never leaves. Right.
No.
And it's so funny because, you know, I know my clothes fit differently. I know the size of my jeans. I know the size of my shirts, and I know everything like that. But for someone that's been through it, it's very hard to look at yourself and see yourself as other people see you. And so for me, it takes evidence. So if I get a photo shoot done, or I walked in Fashion Week and I saw those pictures of like, oh gosh, that's what I look like.
Right.
It's hard.
Right. Yeah. We're very critical of ourselves when that happens, for sure. And it's, you know, it's diving deep. And I did a lot of because I do life coaching also. And it was really understanding and loving who you are at this present moment. And look, I love to work out. I work out almost every single day. I love to eat clean. I love to do, but yes, it sometimes does become a struggle. And having that mindset can be with anything, because I've worked with overeaters, undereaters, children, athletes, older adults, younger adults. There's always something embedded in the mind. It's just, how do we calm that down so it doesn't take the downward spiral? No,
that's a good point. You know, I've said this many times on my show, but I always like to reiterate it when I'm having great conversations with somebody like you, because I think you'll understand it. And it brings me back to that moment. And it's going to bring me back to a point that you said, that you got to love yourself now. So my alarm clock used to say 4 a.m., wake up, bitch. Now it says, I love you, Sean. The moment I made that switch, my buddy Matthew Hedden helped me with this so much, and I will never stop loving that guy. He's like one of my best friends. It's like, man, the moment you decide to shift into a better version of yourself that comes from a place of love for who you are, that's when you're going to succeed. But as long as you think you're broken and something's wrong with you and you're doing it because you hate how you look, it'll never work, because you'll make progress and you'll fall back because you don't love yourself. And,
Absolutely.
And it's been impactful. So when I have those days now where I don't want to move because I'm tired, or I just really honestly wake up on the wrong side of bed, I'm like, I want to do this shit today.
Yeah.
I still do it now because it's a part of my standard. It's who I am. It's what I do. And I get to do this, and I love myself enough to go put in the effort. And it changed everything for me, even to a point of, you know, clinical nutrition, like your specialty. Like, I love eating clean. And when I don't, I feel it.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Yeah, no, it took a long time for me to understand that. And, you know, I read a lot. I don't read romance cheesy novels. I read stuff for self-improvement. I read things like, I just finished reading, I'm in the middle of reading a book called, it's called Mindful Purpose or Mindful Health. I read Mel Robbins, Let Them. You know, I think what happens is I realize that why did I let that happen to me? It's because I let too many people get into my head. Instead of knowing who I was and knowing where I wanted to go, I tried to be something that I wasn't, or maybe something that I thought somebody wanted me to be. And now I am like just loving life. Look, I was a 2 or 3 time a week exerciser. I was a marathon runner. So I started marathon running in my early 20s, and I saw the weight kind of, because these things pop up every now and then. So when you have that in your teens, kind of pops up in different ways in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s. So I was running marathons and I started to realize, I'm getting pretty lean here. This is great. So I was running, and then I wanted to build muscle, and I was doing too much. And it was getting to the point where it was actually like hurting my body as opposed to helping it. Now I have come to like the terms of like, hey, strength training I'm a 46-year-old woman going through her hormones and embracing them, but I'm doing them the right way. So I'm making sure I have my proper nutrients, and I'm exercising, but I'm focusing on strength, and I'm taking that downtime for myself. So when I do my off days, I call them my non-workout workouts. I'm doing Pilates, I'm walking, I'm doing something. I never not move, but I need, because again, my brain, that's my natural antidepressant. It's my natural happy hormone is to move, but I do it differently, where in the past, I think I probably would have beaten myself up. Like you just said, you didn't do anything, you lazy thing. Like, and then I would hurt myself by not giving myself the food I needed.
Yeah.
And then, so it all like came to a head, and that's really why I wanted to like dive into this profession, get my master's, have my bachelor's, start educating people. I have 3 different cookbooks. When I put the cookbooks together, the cookbooks are really little stories. Like, why are we eating what we're eating? Like, we've got these beautiful cookbooks out and people don't understand why. And this is kind of what you were talking about earlier. Why do we do what we do? Nutrition and fitness are one of the things for most people that are really intimidating, very stressful, and very scary, because right away, everyone thinks you're going to pull everything away from them. I'm never going to eat pizza. I'm never going to eat cake. I'm never going to have a glass of wine. No, that's not true. Everybody's different, obviously, if you've got allergies or so on and so forth. But I wanted to put something together where if someone's looking at this recipe, it's like, this recipe is filled with high nutrients. If you want to build on, getting in your proteins and having your healthy fats and getting in the right type of carbohydrates, this is why. So when I put the 3 different cookbooks together, there's a story. So the first one was obviously was called Fit Cuisine, because it was for people that are just starting a fitness program and want to get into something different. Balanced Nutrition, which is what the company's named after, is because balance is everything in life. We can't be all one thing. And I was there, like you were saying, you were there. So when you find that balance, my God, you are happy. And food has to complete that part of the pillars of health. So I put that together because I also have a gluten allergy. So I'm an Italian with a gluten allergy, which is crazy. And I went to Italy with my parents, and people are like, did you have pasta? And I was like, no, I had no pasta, no pizza, because I was actually a little bit fearful. But you know what? I enjoyed the fresh fish, the vegetables, the fruit, and I enjoyed the wine and just being in an environment that I'd never been in, and just embraced it. And then the new one that came out was really based on my own journey of this is hormones. Eat to beat your hormones. There's a science behind the types of foods that one should eat to help their hormones be more stabilized. And we don't really talk about that. We're very quick to talk about, how to, certain things we can take. But this was a book, and everything self-published, because I don't preach something that I don't live. Everything that you hear out of my mouth is authentic, and it comes from what I've done myself.
Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to slide into our recovery segment, brought to you by Therabody. What an amazing technology that Therabody has. And it was founded on a really cool story by Dr. Jason Wersland. It was founded on pain. He got into an accident and had this extreme pain in his arm, and found that percussive therapy really helped. So he created the very first version of the Theragun with a Makita drill, just to pilot and test to see if his pain could be relieved by percussive therapy overall. And surely it was. So now birth to the Theragun, and now Therabody, who has a multitude of products to help you recover emotionally and physically. And some of the products even help with stress, meditation, and better sleep, and just overall better wellness. And when I had Dr. J on the show earlier in 2025, it really spoke to me, because his platform was founded out of physical pain. And the Determined Society was founded out of emotional pain. And so it felt natural for us to partner up. So here we are, an official partnership with Therabody. And I want to talk to you about some of the products today that I've been enjoying that I think you need to understand and know more about so you could potentially implement them into your life. And I'm not going to get into a big deep dive of the actual science and everything like that. I'm just going to give you some anecdotal information based on the products that I'm using and that my wife is actually using too, that is helping us out a great deal at home. Because the great thing about these products, guys, is you can use them anywhere. You can use them in the gym. You can use them at home, in your bed, in your living room. Hell, you can even drive with the Theragun Pro Plus in your car and use it on your quads, use it on your arms, whatever that is. The first thing I want to talk about is the Theragun Pro Plus. I bring that in my gym bag every day to the gym. And when I'm warming up, I use it to warm up. I put it on my arms, whatever body part I'm using that day, I activate those muscles. And what I find is I'm able to move my body a lot quicker. And I'm a lot stronger on those days that I do actually bring it and utilize it. I just think it's a great way to understand your body and the connection between your strength and your muscles and being warm and being able to perform. Because it's one thing to go work out, but it's another thing to perform while you're doing it. And the Theragun Pro Plus helps me do that. Another thing that I really, truly enjoy is the Jet Boots Pro Plus. These things are wire-free. There's no hassle. There's no cords. There's infrared LED light. There's that compression therapy. And I've been having bad pains in my ankles, both of them actually, for about a year. And I don't understand where it's coming from. But when I started using the boots religiously after a leg day or after a cardio session, I throw those boots on and I find myself a lot looser afterwards. I find myself lighter. And then the next day, there's no pain in my lower extremity, like my feet. The other thing that I really enjoy is that product really helps me recover a lot quicker. And let's face it, that's the most important thing when we're trying to move our bodies or we're trying to succeed in life is we want quick recovery emotionally and physically. And these products help me do that. And they can help you do that as well. One of the other things that I really want to go into because it's helping my wife out a ton with headaches and being able to distract from the noise in her mind. And honestly, it helps me with that too, is the smart goggles. Whenever we feel a slight headache coming on or things are getting really heavy just in our minds, just thinking about all the stressors, all the things out there that we can't control, we throw the goggles on, get in a quiet place, and there's different cycles on there and different intensities of vibrations and massaging that you can either turn it up or turn it down. And what I really enjoy is it allows me to focus on what's going on with just me. And I think about things, and the massaging with the smart goggles relieves either headaches and it relaxes me and relaxes my wife to a point where we can fall asleep better. We are preparing to kind of downshift and shut down and slow down for the evening. So I heavily recommend them. The other thing it's really good for is just creating a peaceful time in your day. And what I found since using the smart goggles and then the other products is it works for me, it works for my family, and I know it can work for you too. So I want you guys to think about things that you are struggling with. If it's lower back pain or you wake up in the morning, your neck is tight, I'm going to tell you the Theragun Pro Plus will help that out. They have cold therapy on it, hot therapy. I mean, think about that. When I opened that box and realized that I could have heat therapy and cold therapy and a Theragun, changed everything for me. And also really made the thing that I hate doing the most is warm up, made that very easy for me just by applying it to the muscle group that I'm going to use before I do it and in between sets, which promotes quicker recovery between sets. So if you're looking to go high volume or to lift heavy weights, I strongly consider that. All these products are there to help you move along in your day with less pain and recover quicker. So go check it out because now, like I said, the official partnership has begun. And from now until the end of March, in your first order, you get 15% off. your first order, not every order. So if you're going to buy some stuff, load up there in that cart for that first time and you get 15% off. Go to therabody.com and at checkout, the code is determined. So let me know how you guys like it. Until then, stay determined. I can relate to that. I think that makes people powerful.
Yeah.
Is speaking from own experience. That way you can actually help somebody instead of maybe regurgitating something you heard somewhere else and you actually don't live it.
Right.
You know, I want to talk, I want to go straight to the eating for hormones.
Okay.
You're right. People aren't talking about it enough, especially with women. You know, my wife's 46 as well. And one day, just literally one day, everything changed. You know, the water retention, the holding weight. I mean, she looks great, you know, but for her, she was like, I don't look like I used to look.
Right.
And the things that I always try to explain to her is like, well, you know, we need to bump up the protein. We need to have you eating. I know you're teaching, but you got to find a way to put something in your body every 2.5, 3 hours, right? At least some protein. But she doesn't like protein shakes. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm met with the resistance of like, okay, I can't help then, right? I'll make your breakfast in the morning. I'll make sure you eat when you're home. But when you're at school, you got to eat. You got to have some good nutrition. You got to eat some protein. There's a lot of things on the internet that we spoke about. But women's hormones, I see a lot of women that are in their 60s and absolutely shredded. And they say in their 40s, they made the decision, right, is to go off script and lift heavy, to focus on lifting heavy shit and not worry about it's going to make me too bulky. Ladies, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Okay. The whole, I don't want to get bulky. Guess what? It's not going to happen. Okay. So lift your heavy stuff, eat a good balanced nutrition and, you know, and you'll lean back up. But the lifting aspect of the resistance training seems to be one of the major pangeas for women's hormones. What are your thoughts?
All right. So it's really funny that you said that because one of the things I do in all of my talks is I tell the women, you know, obviously it's the balance we talk about. Stop lifting the pink dumbbells.
Come on, girl.
Don't lift them pink dumbbells. And honestly, from experience, and not that I was lifting pink dumbbells, but I made a conscious decision on my 40th birthday that I was going to embrace weight training. And I hired a coach to help me do it safe. Because even though I'm a trainer, I can't watch myself do it. I can't see my back position if I'm in the front mirror. So I had a coach and I was like, let's do this. And I was deadlifting. I was squatting in the rack. Now, as a trainer, what I like to do is I teach bioindividuality, right? No two bodies are the same. So with personal training and with nutrition, when I do coaching or I train, I always look at the individual first.
I love this. Keep going. Yeah.
So what my workout and what works for me, and this is what's going to go to the Instagram and the social media stuff, is not necessarily going to work for the next person. So your wife and I are 46 years old, but I may lift very differently than she does, yet we may get the same results, but we just may train a little bit differently. So what worked for me is to do 3 days of total body training where we do legs, upper body, we isolate some stuff too, and we go all in. But I also don't want to get hurt, right? So I want to keep my own knees. I want my back to be safe. So what we do is we lift moderately heavy. So those last few reps, you should be like, God damn, like, I can't believe I just lifted that. Right. And it's empowering for women to do that. When I coach my women in training and I throw a 35-pound dumbbell on the floor and I say, single arm row that, they look at me like, I'm going to bulk. And that is the quintessential thing that every single woman in my field will say, I don't want to get bulky. We are not genetically made to be bulky. There's stuff we can potentially take to make us bulky, but we're not going to get bulky.
Right.
I'm not bulky and I can squat, 140 pounds or I can do things. I mean, I worked out before I got here today and I single arm rowed a 45 or 50 pound dumbbell for 12 reps 3 times. So, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, you should
and I
be.
will tell you that increases your metabolism. And we can go down a little bit with that. But when women lift heavy, their metabolism will increase, right? You are putting on muscle. Muscle, obviously, it's something that we need for protection of our bones, because women get osteoporosis or osteopenia as we get older. And the protein source is what happens in here too. So what happens is the balance of lifting weights and protein. I personally am a pesco-ovotarian, meaning I only eat fish and eggs. My body does not digest chicken or meat very well. I
Okay.
tend to have a histamine response. So for me, that's where I'm talking about the bioindividuality.
Mm-hmm.
It's all different. So I tend to, based on my body weight, they say you should eat your body weight in protein grams. I personally can't. So I go small, and then I take it one step at a time, because digestibility is just tough for women too. As you get older as well, your metabolism and your rate of how you digest things can get a little bit slower. So it's, what do you pair those things with and stuff like that. So I am all about lifting weights that are heavier than the pink dumbbells, making sure you hit your protein goals. It doesn't necessarily have to be 4 to 5 times a day. My work schedule is completely erratic. I start my day at 6 a.m. and sometimes I can train straight through until 3.
Wow.
And I have to rely on a somewhat clean, I do plant-based protein because it's easy for me to digest. I have to rely on a protein shake for me. But if not, I'll coach meal prepping. Bring things that you like, that, you know what, you give yourself little 15-minute breaks in between. You have something that's small, or you make sure you're hydrated. That's the other thing. In this area now that I see, we are doing too much cardio, because in the past, cardio burns fat. Cardio doesn't burn fat.
No, it doesn't.
Cardio causes you to lose muscle mass, which causes you to have, like, all of my women talk about their arms. What is this? What is this? What's the cellulite? All of that's from not having the proper muscle mass on your body and training in that slightly uncomfortable position of your weight training. And again, if you're not comfortable, get a personal trainer. That's why we're here. And if you don't understand nutrition, hire someone that really knows what they're doing. Don't follow somebody else's nutrition plan on social media, because I'm telling you, I can't even begin to explain that I have gotten people that have come to me that have done all of these yo-yos because they followed somebody else's plan and they're miserable, and then they mess up their hormones.
Yep.
Women are insulin resistant when we go through our hormone stages, which means that we are not burning the sugars at the same rate that we used to burn in our 20s and our 30s, when cardio was great. When I was 20, I ran 20 miles. I ran a full marathon. I was shredded. Now I'm like, God, I'm exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I don't do much cardio. We talked about it before.
Right.
Like I really don't. The only amount of cardio I do is just where it's going to be good enough for my heart. I don't look at it as a weight loss strategy. I don't look at it as anything other than, how do I strengthen my heart?
Right.
And that's why it's called cardio.
That's
right?
true.
It's not, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
But back in the day, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was training for baseball, it was like, you got to do cardio 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Do the elliptical for 35, 45 minutes, dude, that's a lot. Like I'm going to tell you something. If somebody were to get on that moving Stairmaster and do 15 minutes 3 times a day, 3 times a week, that's good. Cause that thing is tough. And, and I love that damn thing.
I rode that yesterday.
Fun. That thing is fun. But to your point, you made a comment about when you put a 35-pound dumbbell on the floor and you tell a woman to single arm row it. Like that has to, I don't want to bulk. It has to be a woman in their 40s, right? Because what I'm seeing is some of these college girls in the gym, like, oh no, they're like, give me all the weights. They are strong.
Oh, I see them glute drive 4 45-pound plates on each side, which is great. I'm happy for that. But to your point too, like my women, even in their 60s or their 50s or their 70s, if I have them on a cable machine, I'll put 20 pounds on there and say, let's do some tricep extensions. If they're going to row, I'll put 55 pounds on there and say row. And at first they don't think they can do, but once they do the first 2 reps and you see that smile pop on their face, I'm like, you can do it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's confidence. It's mental. And that's why this book that I'm reading really talks about the mind and the body. What you think about, you bring about. If you think you can't lift that, you can't.
Yeah.
But if you look at it and you try the first 2 reps and you're like, ooh, this is great. And then you have someone that is encouraging you. You're like, okay, let's maybe try 5. Then you hear them going like, can we try 5 more? Can we try another? So and that's how you build it for sure.
As you get into it, it gets to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because you get to test things in the gym. You test things from week to week based on your progress, based on what you ate and what's working for you. And where I'm going with this, you talked about biomechanics of a body, but also people's digestive systems, like you say, are completely different. So I'm going to ask you to break me down real quick. Okay. Because I want to know clinically why I'm the way I am, because I don't know. All right. So I used to be the school of thought that in order to be stronger, I had to also have complex carbohydrates in my system, like, post-workout, before workout, whatever. But for me, I didn't make much progress. And I was always so frustrated. As long as I kept those carbs in, I would crave the sugar. I would crave the breads. I would do all that. The moment we talked about, we're both very close to Jeff Delaney. Once I got with him over at T Clinics and over at New Viva with his staff, like, it's completely fixed. So what we decided to do with me to see how my body responded is we took carbs completely out for an extended period of time, but we started with just eating detox fruits, like the blueberries, the pineapples, the green apples. And then eventually, after I did that for a month and a half, we went carnivore. And it just fell off. And then now I'm to a point where the only carbohydrate I take in is my intra-workout carbs. And that's all based on what my DEXA scan looks like, what we're trying to do for the next 3 months, where he's pushing me. But my body does not need carbohydrates. I mean, for me personally, I can speak with 100% certainty when someone says you need to eat carbs. I can go, no, I don't. Now, do I enjoy them sometimes? Sure. But hey, for me, my body just operates completely different. I haven't had a carb in 3 days because I had a cheat meal, right? I don't look tired. I don't feel tired, right? So why would somebody like me, my blood type is A+, by the way, operate so efficiently on basically just protein and fats?
That's funny because your body operates the same way mine does. That's literally all I do. But this goes back to the bioindividuality, right? So every body is different. No 2 programs are alike. And it's not a one size fits all. It's a one size fits you. So I call it my total body approach. So for you, and when I break people down, so if you are one that was constantly craving sugars, right? One of the reasons you're craving sugars is because you're lacking a macro. Now, most people think that a macro is just, and you hit it because you said what you're doing. Most people think a macro is bread, bagels, pasta, oatmeal. It's not. It's fruit, right? It's those types, something that is a natural sugar that you're probably ingesting earlier throughout the day is working for you. Plus, if you're feeding your body stuff that takes a slower amount of time to break down, which are the proteins and the fats, your body's satiated longer, right? But if you came to me and told me something completely different than what you just said, you're like, Fran, I am like dropping like a fly at 3 o'clock. I need my caffeine jolt. I'm craving a snack at 4 o'clock, which I get. Like I would say that you and I and a lot of people that are super dialed into health we're not the majority.
No.
Okay. So most of the people that are probably listening to this or that I'm working with, or that maybe you are in your circle too, they're going like, there's so much noise going on in their head. And with carnivore is not great for everybody. I have clients that I had done carnivore with, and they were like, they felt horrible. They were like, I can't use the restroom. They're like, I feel brain fog. I feel bloated.
Interesting.
So that's the beauty of the bioindividuality. And that's what was happening with me. When I was eating chicken or beef or ground turkey, my joints became inflamed. I was bloated like you can't believe. And I was like, this is horrible. I can't do this. So I found that fish and eggs, and I got I started following a little bit of a moderate, like plant-based for a while. I play with everything on myself. I found that was a little bit better for me. So back to you. So it really all depends. So if you found through trial and error with working over there that works for you, then that's great. But for some people, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But if you told me something else, like again, I get all the other stuff we talked about. If you had like, you were like, they were downward spiraling in the morning. Like I have people that have to eat first thing in the morning. So I make sure they hit their 30 grams of protein first thing in the morning. I have people that if they eat something too much in the morning, they're nauseous throughout the day. And I have people that rock intermittent fasting. You know, I personally love to intermittent fast in the morning. I'm too early for food. So I get I use a collagen, a bovine collagen in my coffee that gets me 30 grams. And then by like 11 o'clock, I have like something that's, you know, protein based that I can have. But everybody's different.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of this. And you know, I've had people that have been on, you know, certain programs like what you're describing, and they've just like, I can't do it. Like, I need something different.
Yeah. I had a buddy that did carnivore a few years back, and like he had to go in and get checked. Like his blood markers were off and he felt like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And like for me, I'm like, wow, this is like a dream. I get to eat meat, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting though, because as you say, it's just everybody's different. And that's the message that I want the audience to really key in on. Like what works for me, what works for Fran is not going to necessarily work for you. It might could, but we don't know unless we try. And, you know, for me, I'm finally happy because I know what works for me. And I don't have those cravings. Now I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like there's, you know, a couple times a month where I'll, you know, sit there at night and I'll binge chocolate straight up. But here's the difference. I don't shame myself for it.
Right.
And I wake up the next morning and move my damn body. It doesn't torpedo me like it used to. Right. And I think that's all a part, like you said, just the balance of, hey, I'm going to enjoy these things every now and again. I'm going to eat my concrete mixer from Culver's, dude. Like straight up. Like I'm, you know, once a week I'm going to have that. And I don't care.
No. Yeah.
Because, you know, what's happening is I'll do it on a day where I know I got a major body part, right? The next day. So like I'll have it the night before I do legs, or I'll have it the night before I do chest and back. So I know I'm going to utilize that energy, right? To the best of my abilities. But, you know, this is such an interesting conversation because, you know, we keep saying there's noise. There's noise, and there's people out there right now that just don't understand where to start. If you're an individual that doesn't know where to start, and maybe you don't have the resources or the funds to hire someone like you, or to go to a Nuviva, or to have that external support to guide you through it, where would you start?
You know, there's some really great, you know, I started before all of this I started reading. So I was looking at what some of my symptoms were before I found out I had the gluten allergy. I was in my like early 20s, and every time I went out to dinner and I had pasta, I would go home and I would be doubled over in pain. And then it kept happening more and more. And I'm going like, what is going on? And then I was watching a program, and this doctor who wrote the Wheat Belly book was talking on a program, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I have that. So I bought the book. And I read it and I implemented a couple of things. And I realized by going to my GI doctor and asking him for a test that was what I had.
Wow.
So I think that learning is a very big thing. Like the thing with, you can't follow somebody else's program, but there's a lot of great resources, real resources. Social media, Instagram and Facebook from a person that goes to a gym is not real.
No.
Someone like myself, or like we were talking about earlier, or Jeff, or something like that, where we've gone through the rigmaroles of the education, and we've done the meta-analysis reading and the, you know, reading the different types of case studies where there's proof that these are things. Not everything works for everybody, but understand the beauty of stuff is you got to understand your body. I think that a lot of us are just like, oh, I think I have this symptom. Know what's going on with your body first. And I always say baby step the process. Start with nutrition before you start with fitness. And one of the reasons that New Year's resolutions die the second Friday of January is because everybody goes all in with everything. If you go all in with everything, you're going to get zero. So what I always say with nutrition is start with one thing first. Like if you know that you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, maybe you take one meal and you have no carbs for that meal. And then maybe you do that for 2 weeks. And then the next time, because again, habits form. But if you try like everything all at one time, it's a recipe for disaster. And with fitness, if you are one that sits all day, sitting is the new smoking, right? If you're one that sits all day, maybe you buy one of these watches, not maybe an Apple Watch if you can't afford an Apple Watch, but there's all these different tracking devices, your phones.
Yeah.
And what you do is you aim for we talked about this before, aim for a certain amount of steps per day. So right now, they used to have it really high. It's between 8,000 and 10,000 steps a day for overall health. Aim for that. And then when you're comfortable, go to the gym. And what you could do is a lot of these gyms do complimentary programs, right? Where you could go and you can meet with a trainer and you can get a complimentary program and maybe you get assessments and you can meet with them like bi-weekly or something like that. There's means to do things. It's just where's your mindset and how important is it? Is it something like, don't wait. Like I'm a big believer in preventative medicine, and preventative medicine is not like going to buy all the supplements you can possibly take. It's preventing the disease by doing the things that are important to not get those things to happen. Movement, hydration, proper food, sleep, stress reduction. Like those are your 5, right? There's probably more, but off the top of my head right now, those would be my top 5. And what I would do with those is just focus on, implementing a little bit of that and keeping, and keeping track of yourself. Keep a log if you need to, but there's means. But if you're following, and I think that's what's happened is we scroll all day long and it's like, oh, because I get it all the time. I read this or I read that. No, preventative medicine is really, you do those 5 things to prevent disease and illnesses from happening. But what happens is we wait until it happens and we get the blood mark that says your A1C is high, you have to reduce your sugars. And then that's when we go into freak out mode. So just be mindful. I think that we all know what we're supposed to do. I think we just are we're so overwhelmed by what everybody's saying that, and this is what I get all the time, I don't know what's right and what's wrong.
I love that. You said something that I was like, oh my gosh, Sean, don't forget this. Like, hold on to that.
Yeah.
You mentioned, how bad do you want it? Right. And I think that people really do want it. They do want to feel better. They do want to be healthier. They do want to look better as a consequence of doing all the right things. Because I truly, at this point, I look at the aesthetic portion of it as a side effect. I like feeling better.
That's a good way to put it.
I like feeling better when I wake up in the morning. I like being able to move my body and not worry about it. Right.
Right.
But I always look at things as like, this is where people, including myself, have gone wrong. Because I went wrong with this in the past. Oh my God, I got to go work out today.
Yeah.
It's a chore.
Yeah.
It's like a punishment for being overweight, unhealthy. When, do you know how many people out there, probably just in Naples, Florida, that wish every day they can just get up and go lift weights, but they don't have legs. They may have one arm. They don't have certain things that we do. They don't have able bodies, but they would give anything to go do that. Movement is a privilege. It is not a chore.
Yep.
And so I think that the mindset, and all of it could be fear-based too. I want to be very empathetic about that, because there's nothing worse than going to the gym when you're 30 pounds overweight. There's nothing worse. You feel it in your waistline, when you're sitting down. Like, one of the things that I have never shared on the air is like, when I was going through I started in late 24, right? And I remember getting to the gym, sitting down, and then my underwear band would flap over my shorts. That's some uncomfortable shit. Nobody else can see it, but I know it's there. And I'm thinking, wow, somebody's looking at this. No one cares. No one cares, right? The only person that cares what you look like in the gym is yourself. Trust me. But I think that a lot of people listening right now are hesitating because they're waiting to feel comfortable to go to the gym, and they're looking at it as a chore, of something that they have to do as a punishment.
Yep.
How do you combat that?
That's, that's very poignant, and it's true. I get a lot of people that say to me, when I get to a certain point, I'll do X. It's kind of what you just said.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you said that, because I owned my own personal boutique training because I was afraid to go into a big box gym because I felt like I wasn't, there was a lot of women in there with the small little jog bras and the shorts. And I didn't have the body confidence to do that. So I'm like, I'm going to go sit there and like work out. So I stayed in a small box gym where I was comfortable. It was my little safe space. Now I don't care. Now I'm like, I'm out. Like, I'm good. So that was a little bit of a challenge. So I understand that. I think that it's a tough one, but when I have people that come to me and they're like, look, I'm just embarrassed. I think that, from a trainer standpoint, is you almost have to work with the mindset first before you're focusing on how much weight they're lifting. It's like, let's just get to the gym. And even if you buddy up with someone or something like that, but get to the gym and maybe you just focus on a couple of movements first, right? And maybe you put some good music on to distract you. But I think what happens is we've got to focus on the mindset first and not think about, when I get to A, then I'll go to the gym. Or when I lose 5 pounds, I'll go on a nutrition program. Well, you're not there. That's not what happened. And I think what happens with this whole wellness world is that, it's become such an intimidating factor. And to what you just said, I had a grandfather that was a diabetic and lost both of his legs to diabetic neuropathy. But he was always outside. And now I work in a facility where there's people that are 100. I train an 88-year-old. And they bench press.
That's so amazing.
And I say to them all the time, you are my inspiration. Even the women, I see women in there. I'm like, you are my inspiration. I'm like, tell me why you do this. Because if I don't move, I'm done.
Wow.
If I don't move, I'm done. Wow. I'm like, wow. And the guy, one of the clients that was 100, I said, he said, he's been working out forever. And the guy just comes in and moves through the machines. And he's like, it's like, for me, exercise is like brushing my teeth. It's a part of my life. I'm not going to not brush my teeth. I'm not going to not wash my hair. It's part of my life. And when I heard him say that, he said, he goes, if I don't move, I'm done. He goes, and every day, even when he was, some of them have had cancers, some of them have had illnesses. And I'm like, so what got you out of bed? One person had a heart valve replaced and he's there working out. I said, talk to me. He's like, this is my drive. This is important to me because if I don't do this and I just think about the fact that I have what's going on, it's going to take me away.
Wow.
And I was like, that makes complete sense to me. But to some people, we've fallen into a society. Not everybody is in this, but it's always like, if you're sick, you've got to lay down and you've got to not move. And then you've got to wait for a doctor to tell you to do this. One of the clients I had said, my doctor told me not to do anything. And all I did was walk. And then when I got back to him in a week, he says, what did you do to yourself? And he goes, I walked. He goes, this is remarkable. He's like, I've never seen this. And it's also too, I think it's like, it goes back to, education of physicians and what people are teaching us. I think the older generation, the people that I'm working with, did not understand nutrition, did not understand fitness. It was like the Jack LaLanne era. It was a different time period. People didn't exercise a lot the way we're doing it now. No. Laborious work, like my grandfather. My grandfather was in the garage working on cars. He was outside working on the grass. My father was the same way until probably the last, maybe 20 years. He was corporate America, threw out his back, was 225 pounds. He's now 165 pounds. Follows the balanced nutrition plan, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
But it's his whole life now. Every day he's like, I'm going to the gym. And maybe it's just to go for a walk and he lifts weights. And my mother is the same exact way and they eat well. But he learns that from this generation, my generation really, because he's like, he never stepped foot in the gym.
Yeah.
Nobody did that. So you learn almost like the mindset of the older adult that's just like, we just do what we have to do because you've got to keep moving. And it's like, if I don't, then I'm done. And our mindset with our generation, I feel is sometimes we go too much where we hit a wall and then that's when we just crash and burn and then we stop doing things.
Yeah. To your point, I think now there's more people wanting to get healthy.
Yes.
And I think the social climate and everything that went on in 2020 with COVID and everything like that, I think it really propelled that.
Yeah.
Because that's when I started being really conscious about my health. And then, I'd make some progress and I'd fall back down again. Admittedly, I would never lie about that, right? Everybody that has listened to the show, everybody who's incorporated with me knows my story, like, as I tell it, right? I'm not speaking from the top of the mountain. I'm speaking from like currently climbing it with everybody.
Right.
But I noticed that more people said, you know what? I don't know what's going to take me out. And I think for me, when I look back in 2020, I remember walking up the stairs and getting winded. I'm like, okay, I'm 41 years old at that time. I'm 47, right? And so 42. I'm like, I should not be this winded walking up and down stairs. Okay. I don't live in a 7-level house. It's a 2-story house. And so I started paying attention. I'm like, I should probably get healthier because, at the very beginning, like, hey, nobody knew what COVID was, right? I've had it probably 7 times, right? Since then. So, and I'm blessed because it didn't take me out. But I think there's a lot of people really understanding the value of preventative maintenance, right? To work on their body, to eat healthy. And again, I want to stress the audience. I'm not talking about how you look. I'm not talking about what you look like in a bathing suit, what you look like when you're walking down the street in your clothes. I'm talking about your system. How do you feel? Like, are you healthy? Because there's plenty of people out there that are jacked out of their mind, look great, but are very unhealthy, and so I just think it's this thing where we're in this, what are we looking at? Like a little more than half a decade now, 6 years of like people really realizing like, I need to be ready for the next go around because I don't know when it's coming in.
Yeah. And that's where the key, so I've been doing a lot of talking on some of the key trigger words that are kind of leading to how you feel inside is inflammation, right? There's a lot of autoimmune going around.
Yep.
There's a lot, I can't even tell you how much I talk about your gut. There's your gut and then your hormones. Those are all of the 4 kind of like things that I think if we can just understand inflammation, you can really understand why the body's doing what it's doing, because a lot of what's going on internally is caused by what we're eating and the types of foods that we're eating. And that's causing this visceral tissue. It's causing inflammation. When we have high amounts of inflammation, our cortisol levels elevate, our blood pressure, our cholesterol, and all of the visceral tissue goes around your organs, your lungs, your kidneys. I mean, I can't even tell you how many people that I work with and I put them on these plans and that they're exercising, but the number on the scale is not necessarily going down, but their waist is going this way. And they're like, my pants are smaller, but my number is the same. What is going on? I'm like, we're focusing on the types of food and they feel good. They feel good. They're like, my energy, my skin, my hair, like, what is it? I'm like, it's simple. It's simple. It's what works for you. Like, let's give you stuff you really like. But those things, and we started really talking about that during the pandemic too, not to make it a big pandemic conversation, but that was the stuff I think that everybody had the aha moments, because obviously our gut is the center of our immune system. It's our second brain. So if that's off and that gets a hit with some type of an infection, it's just completely erratic. But that gut is being triggered by inflammation. That inflammation is being fed by, by the GI system being off. But if you have autoimmune and you're not even realizing that you have it, you're just putting flame on the fire. And internally, you're just like, I don't even know what's going on. So it's almost like no matter what you do, unless you figure out what's going on with you personally, like as far as like how I fix your health, will it like really get better? And that's what was happening to me. Like I felt good before, but I was like, why does my stomach always hurt? And it was the gluten.
Yeah.
And then so there's all kinds of stuff. And I love when I work with an individual, like I had an individual I worked with that had it's like crazy GI stuff, and doctors didn't understand what was going on. They were putting her on a certain type of medication. It was making it worse. We did some elimination things. We added a few stuff, and she has not had an issue. And she's like, this is the best I ever felt. I didn't do exercise yet. We just did that.
See, that's just amazing. Okay, so let's dive into that, okay? Because I don't think people realize how much pain and weight is involved in inflammation.
Oh my God.
Like
Yes.
if you are inflamed, everything hurts.
Absolutely.
To a point where you think you're sick.
Yep.
And the weight that comes along with it is a ton of water retention, right? Like man, the moment you focus on just nutrition and eating things that are good for you and testing what can I have, what can't I have based on me, you start to truly understand yourself. And the biggest benefit that I've gotten, yes, how I look is much better. And I am not afraid of the camera anymore. I'm not afraid of how I look on camera. Like I know what it's going to look like now. But the one thing that I want people really to understand here is, and I'm speaking directly to the audience, is guys, give yourself the opportunity to understand how it truly feels mentally to be in shape, to eat well, to lift heavy shit, to execute what you need to execute, because the benefit of my mind or what gave I am extremely sharp. Like I do not have brain fog. I feel amazing. And for me, and by the way, less anxiety. I do get anxious, right? I live a very stressful life. I have 3 children, under the age of, I mean, I have a 12, 9 and 7-year-old. Like that shit's that I'm in the shit, right? I'm in the trenches right now. And 2 of them are girls. So, but adore them, love them. Blessed to be a father and a husband. But the level of anxietized moments I have now, I would say on a daily basis, I used to have 3 to 4 episodes. I may have one every 3 weeks now. I mean, I'll get the normal anxiety, like, like business stuff, but I think that's also just fire. That's just, I need to move. I need to do this because I'm a high achiever and I want to win. But the opportunity that I think that people are leaving on the table is in between the ears. Like that to me has been the biggest benefit in my journey.
100%. I mean, one of the things that people laugh at me is I'm a high energy look, I'm type A. I'm the same way. I am like an overachiever. I'm passionate. I care. But I have found through this journey, even till this day, like present moment, I have a huge sense of calm now. I'm allowing myself to embrace the health I've created for myself. And I want that for other people. And when I see other people kind of not get so crazy about their food and exercise and smile and see that it all is just coming together and it doesn't have to be so complex, you're 100% right. And that's one of the things, like, what people are like, oh, that like certain foods for energy. I'm like, I just have energy because my food is clean and I move every day and I'm drinking water and I'm enjoying the beautiful environment of where we live, right? And I make sure I get out in nature. And there's certain things that you can go all out or you can just do something small. So I find where that balance works. And you're 100% right. Inflammation is horrible. Most people don't realize that their back pain, their neck pain, their headaches, their IBS or whatever it is, is a lot of that is due to the food that's causing the inflammation. There's only so much our bodies can take. There's only so much our bodies can take. And when we start to pull just a little bit of that out, your body starts to feel a lot better. And you have such mental clarity. Because you're like, whoa, like, why did I? Then you wonder why you did that to yourself. And it's no fault. Yeah. I put no fault to any of this, to anybody. It's like, that's why we're here. And that's why we're doing this today. Just education is everything. And I think that once you really put that out there for people and you let them understand that it doesn't have to be like, let's measure every little minutia that we put into our diets or into our mouth, it flows better. It's less stressful. And I think that if you mentioned earlier, if you follow an 80-20 rule through most of your nutrition and your fitness, if it is 80% of the time your nutrition is on point and you're moving and you're drinking water, if you decide you want to have a piece of pizza or you want to have a piece of cake or you want to have a glass of wine, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
It
okay.
absolutely is.
And I was one of those that beat myself up like you did, but I say, you can't go there first. So if you're in a 230 pound, outside of your health range, physique, you can't worry about that yet. You've got to worry about getting you to the goal. The goal is to get you to be healthy and maybe drop 20 pounds or 30, whatever that is for whatever individual. Then once we're there, we can plug and play is what I call it. Like then you can, worry about a little bit of a cheat here or something there. But everything with life is about, I know a lot of people don't like to plan, but health is a plan, right? You've got to plan going to the grocery store. You got to plan how you're going to prep your food, how you're going to cook it. Are you cooking with seed oils, non-seed oils? Are you cooking real food, processed foods? Are you cooking things in a box? Are you cooking things that are already spiced, salt? There's so many different things. So you got to plan. So you got to plan the grocery store, plan how you're going to cook the food, plan when you're going to eat the food based on your schedule. And only you know that. So you can have coaches that help you, but only you know that. And then you've got to really plan how you want this to flow for your lifestyle. My coaching is all based on lifestyle. Yeah. It's not based on diet. I hate that word. It's just a word that just makes me cringe. It's a lifestyle plan because this is supposed to be for the long term. It's education. Yeah. So if you could fit that into your life and it works for you, go.
It's interesting because, again, just back up a little bit. We were talking about inflammation. You talked about pain. Yeah. And I talked about pain. The amount of back pain I had, lower back pain, I don't know if it was because obviously I had a lot more weight on my joints, right? There's a lot of things that hurt that do not hurt anymore, but the neck pain, the lower back pain, right? And then even just extremity pain at times.
Fatigue.
It just hurt, and now it doesn't, you know what I mean? So I think it's important. And, you talked about tracking all the minutia in your nutrition plan. I think another breakdown with nutritionists, not real ones, but the Instagram ones and people that are out there trying to make a buck because they lost weight. Listen, I lost almost 50 pounds. I'm not trying to start a fitness program for people. I'm not a fitness coach. I just know what worked for this guy.
It can be done is what you're saying.
It's it can be done, right? Somebody else can teach you how to do that. I'm going to tell you what worked for me and, you work backwards from there, but if it works for you, cool, try it out. Right. If it don't throw it out. But everybody talks about tracking food. And I truly believed in the very beginning of tracking my food. But the problem is for somebody like me that gets super obsessed with something, OCD, has that body dysmorphia. If I don't hit this certain, macro for the day, then my whole progress is off. Right. For me, I just know what I can eat, that makes me feel good. And I make sure for me, as soon as I wake up, I'm taking 2 scoops of Intact grass fed. That's 60 grams of protein. And then I'm going to fill up my water for the gym with my Carbolin, my creatine, my glutamine, and my electrolytes. And I'm gone. Right. And after my workout, I feel expanded because of the intracarbs. So I wait an hour. There's no anabolic window. Okay. So I literally wait an hour and I'm then I'll have my 4 eggs and I'll cut up a little bit of steak. And so by the time I hit 7:30, I've already got 100 grams of protein in. So I know I only got 100 grams the rest of the day because I'm 180, 185, but I like to get 200 in still, I'm looking for body recomp, right? So I just think that, for the audience, this, oh my God, I got to track all this food. I got to weigh it. I personally don't think that they do. I think that you need to keep maybe a journal, right? For the first couple, maybe 3 weeks and write down, this is what I ate for breakfast. This is what I had for a snack. This is what I ate for lunch. This is what I had for a snack. This is what I ate for dinner. Then I cut it off at this time. And be honest with yourself. if you had a couple licks, bites, and tastes, put that down.
Mm-hmm.
Because then someone's going to go to you and say, I don't understand, Fran.
Mm-hmm.
I followed your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this. These are all my meals. But they left out, 800 calories of licks, bites, and tastes.
Yep.
Right. So I just think it's important to have, this is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can go back and you can look, that's what worked.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to think that they have to go on MyFitnessPal.
No.
And
use a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Honestly, so in my coaching programs, that's what I do. I'm old school.
I love it.
I'm a little old school. I'm a lot of old school. I love photos.
Yeah.
I want to see what you're eating.
Yep.
So when I go through my coaching programs with my clients, the most success I get is the people that do the journal work, that take the photos, and then what they do is they send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, yes, it doesn't have to be, because I understand I understand the stressors of, I went on MyFitPal and they didn't have like the natural peanut butter. They only had this one. And I'm like, all right, that's just too much. It's just too much. It should not be that much work. So just take a piece of paper and write down like 3 eggs, 1 cup of spinach, and cooked in olive oil, like done. Yeah. And everybody has to find what works for them in the morning. Like I love my family laughs at me because I legit carry around, it's over there, a big 40-ounce jug for water. Mm-hmm. I have my water in the morning with my electrolytes, my vitamin C, and I am like, that's my jam in the morning. That's what I do. I put my collagen in my coffee. I don't even drink coffee. I drink mushroom coffee.
Okay.
So but that works for me. Mm-hmm. So, I do a shot of apple cider vinegar every morning. I do wheatgrass shots too. So people look at me going like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. It's me, right? I'm a little bit of the extreme, but for my people that I work with, just keep it simple. Keep the log, write it down. And then if you're working with someone like myself, then that is the best accountability you can give to yourself, is just jot it down. I don't care. Whenever I do coaching, it's a no judge zone. Mm-hmm. It's not a judge zone. It's about helping you get better. So if you're not going to be honest with yourself, this will never work.
Man, it's so good.
It's never going to work if you're not going to be honest with yourself. So just be honest. Say like, I had 2 scoops of, ice cream. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then now when the scale goes up 3 pounds, the big quick example was I had a client and she was doing amazing. We were losing 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a week. She was crushing it. And then all of a sudden we went and she's like, I don't understand. It was 3 pounds a week. She went out to dinner. I think they got to factor salt. And then she goes, well, yeah, I had a little bit of bread. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's why. And it's okay. It's totally okay. Nothing is perfect. So you're never going to go into fitness and nutrition and wellness with the perfect plan, because there's no such thing. Mm-hmm. And I know that on Instagram and on certain things, they show you like, oh, everything is, I drink hydrolyzed water. I have 120 grams of protein a day. I sleep on these special pillows and life is great. Like, that's not how it works.
I slept on these pillows for 7 weeks and gained 27 pounds of muscle. I don't know. I can't tell you it's a pillow,
that's what happens. I mean, and I get these people coming to me going like, so if you do lymphatic draining in your neck, like, does that help you lose weight? I'm like, lymphatic draining has a purpose, but not for that. So that's my thing.
It's wild, it's
crazy.
But that's the point though. Like, what's the quickest route? What's the cheat code? What's the gimmick, right? Instead of like, guys, let's start small, because if you go all in, you're going to burn out.
Oh, and, I say that all the time.
I think it's important for people starting a journey to just, like you said, eat one meal without all these carbs and do that for a whole week. There's going to be a calorie deficit there because their body's used to eating more. They're going to see a change in the scale. And then you go, oh, okay, now I can scale back on this. Let's not try to overcomplicate it. Let's make one small change at a time so we can see what's working and what's not, and then move forward from there. Mm-hmm. But this has been amazing. And thank you for coming on and having a real conversation about nutrition and fitness, because I think it's needed in this world. My audience definitely appreciates any type of self-development, nutrition, fitness, because I love you guys. You guys are a bunch of learners. They love being taught things. But as we close down the show, I would like for you to let the audience know where they can find you if they want to work with you remotely, a nutrition plan, or just maybe just reach out to you like, hey, I want to work with you. What's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. So I'm all over social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. It's under my first and last name, Francesca Scerbo. My 3 cookbooks are on Amazon. So you can purchase any one of the 3 cookbooks on Amazon. You could reach out to me through any one of those platforms. My website is francescascerbo.com. You can link through that there as well. You can send a submission. I'll call you back. I'm very easy to find. I work with everyone all over. I work here in Florida with people. I work remote with people up in New Jersey, New York, Minnesota, Michigan, all over. So I'm very much remote. That's the beauty of the Apple products.
I love Apple.
And yeah, I mean, I do a lot of talks. So if you wanted to do, and if anybody wants any kind of talks I do a lot of stuff with women's groups and non-women's groups or panels. Reach out to me and I'm happy to discuss working private or doing talks or anything like that. I love
it. Thank you so much. Yeah. And thank you for tuning in once again. And I do want to remind you to go to thedeterminedsociety.com and sign up for the damn newsletter. All right. It's the only thing I ever ask you guys. I don't ask you to buy programs. I don't ask you to buy a bunch of bullshit. I just need you guys to support me in an additional route that's going to give you more value. So sign up for the newsletter. You're going to see a ton of opportunities for free coaching, behind the scenes stuff, but also a lot of, insight from me on each episode per week. So thanks again. I appreciate you guys. Share this episode with someone you know, love, and trust that may be going through a little bit of a battle in the nutrition and in the health and maybe the weight aspect of their life. And until next time, guys, stay determined.